Welcome to yet another exciting edition of Her Story here on Fut-Afrique channel. This is the podcast where we talk about women's football, women's sports, where we highlight and celebrate our queens that are making the greatest marks in the world of football. But what's very important is that we also celebrate our allies, the people that also push the conversation, elevate the support in women's football, regardless of them being Majida or Macheri. And today I am joined by somebody who really drives the conversation when it comes to highlighting women in football. I am joined by the Lekoko. Do you know what I'm saying?
Finally, I get to make an appearance. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. But I will say an introduction for those that don't know you, because you're on Her Story for the very first time. Just before we start.
Mfana Mamelodi, Lekoko, an anchor of Mzanzi Fundiz and part of the Diski Fundiz podcast, a crazy bunch. We have fun there. And I also happen to be a coach, spare times. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
I produce radio. Kuningi, man, there's just a lot. But women football conversation is what really is in my heart. And at any given moment that I get a chance, I'll be willing to drive that conversation.
I love it. And I know, Khoro, you said Guningi, and it is Guningi because you literally do everything. Like, you are the guy that we call Harabatla, the new pink jersey, banyana, you're the cancer drive, you are the guy to call. I don't know the connections that you have. And funny enough, just to put it out there, when we talk about allies and people that celebrate women's football, you're one of the people that have plugged the Aunty Diski that I am today. You know, when the Twitter spaces, started.
I always see it the other way around. But yeah.
And now I'm going to say, today you are on Her Story, so I'm going to put it the way I put it.
Yeah.
But, creating that platform and that space in order for people to come and engage, and you finding it very important to also have an inclusion in bringing women who make moves in the space of women in sports, was something that really elevated the conversation around women. And we can't, go about this life without giving the flowers that you deserve. So we know that you're one person that is a very big and great ally.
No, 100%. And I mean, with my story, women played a very important role. The first person to take me to a football match was my mother.
Yeah.
If you think I'm soccer crazy, you need to see me having conversations with my mom. My grandmother, I always have conversations. I look at Orlando Pirates, it was run by women. So the role that women played in football, it's downplayed, man. But it's really huge.
We love it. And you're setting an example, to also come, during those braais and conversations, when we have these conversations, we are starting to build a bigger audience, not just women, but males also coming to support. You spoke about coach, right? And I know you're coaching Bomunduza, and you have a son who's very good. I've seen him making moves, and he's so knowledgeable with football. But let's talk about your coaching career, and Saba well to him, having a dad that coaches and works in football. I mean, he's set up for the future.
I don't think he realizes it yet.
No, he doesn't.
Just, any other day. One day it'll hit him when I'm no longer his coach. But
I want to talk about your involvement in the development space when you're coaching, some of the advantages and disadvantages, because we always have these talks about when it comes to us celebrating bigger wins in the future, getting to the quarterfinals and the semifinals of FIFA World Cup, whether it's women's or it's men's, it needs to start at grassroots level,
100%.
And if we can get it right there, it's easier for us to get the results that we want and contend and compete with the rest of the greats. What are some of the advantages and disadvantages that you face as a coach in development?
Well, let me start with advantages. I get to teach, and that's something that we take lightly. You have fresh minds that are ready to absorb, and they're ready to listen to what it is that you're able to feed them. And a lot of people take that for granted because they just think it's football.
And you're right.
But the fact that they're in a team dynamic, it actually teaches them life skills, how they're going to treat conflicts, how it is that they're going to be interacting with their others, future colleagues and all that. So I've never seen this as just coaching footballers because I know potentially in a team, maybe in my team currently I have 12 players, and I know in those 12, probably one or two might go on to make pro. But you need to be aware of the fact that you're teaching human beings skills and you're teaching human beings how to be in that environment. That's the biggest advantage that I'll see. well, there are other perks that comes with it, but the disadvantages that I really want to highlight is, one, the parents being involved, because primarily the child would want to listen to the parent.
Of course.
Yes, and now you're the coach and you're coaching, but always, and you look at it in a match when they're playing and they make a mistake, the first person that they look and it's is the parents. So that's where the problem is. So I don't have a problem with parents supporting. In fact, I encourage it. They can shout, go, go, go. I don't have a problem, but never shout instructions, because now you end up confusing the little ones. You end up confused. They end up being confused. Another thing, because at that age you get to deal with little girls and little boys. They play in the same space. So you then have to comb away that stereotype that says little boys don't want to play with little girls. Funny enough, yesterday I had a training session, and then we were doing one of the warm-up sessions, and one of the boys like, no, I'm not going to hold it. But I'm like, done. So now I have to get involved. It's something that you have to teach away. Because especially with my observation, is that the little girls that have played football growing up with boys, they tend to be 100%. Much better.
100%.
Technically.
Portia Modise speaks about that all the time.
100%. So it's something that I would encourage in terms of, blending the two genders and have a development, and that's it. Don't worry about gender roles. Don't worry about who's playing where. Then you're going to have footballers that are playing in the
especially in that group, the young group.
100%.
Yeah. So do you think maybe workshops, because I agree with you, the Pachadi parents, because I've also been a parent there on the sideline. Mos, I have a lot of these young kids, and then I'm just like, you are playing too deep. You are in the wrong space. And it's very distracting because, the coach tells you, this is the formation, this is how you need to play. And you've got 1,000 parents sitting at the stands. And it's a natural instinct to, to shout an instruction, but you're not the coach.
Yeah, you're not.
You can be telling your child something else, is going up against what the coach instruction is. And now the coach has done the work to do analysis on the opposition team to know this is how you play. Do you believe that maybe there should be workshops, some sort of information outlet? There's a parent out there who's not seeing that this is a distraction. I work in football, so I know how this is a distraction. But other parents just feel like, I'm supporting my child and I need my child to go score. If I see my child at polo, I'm going to say run and go score because I want 100%. My child to celebrate a goal. But maybe that's not the right move to make from a coach's perspective. Maybe give it to somebody who's in a better position, to have a shot on target.
100%. Workshops, I would, yes, maybe, but that would also entail budgeting, that would entail money being spent. Take it to the grassroots, because you're teaching grassroots. Have a conversation, as a coach, have a conversation with the parents. Firstly,
smaller scale.
Firstly, make them aware that, as much as you want results there of winning, they're up top, there it's not about results. The results that you get up there is about grooming players to play properly. Because I can be a coach, and I can be coaching kids that are playing 7 in the team, I can say, because I want to win, keeper, take it, give it to the big boy up top as a striker, let the big boy score. We've scored, we've won the match. But who has improved in the team? Who's playing? No one is playing. So they need to be aware of that thing. And they need to be aware of the fact that you need to make kids, allow them to solve their own problems. Because every single time you shout instructions, you're shouting instructions to a person that now you kind of like paralyzing them, because they're not going to be able to do anything else without you shouting the instructions. So let the kids play.
I love that.
It's about the development of the kids. I always say, judge me by how many kids have improved from the first training session to the last one.
Oh, I like that. I like that. And I think we need to bring you back again to have this conversation further, because we also need to talk about the parents that believe that their childs are the only stars. You know that, you must play my child, and the coach's decision is always something that is not happy with the parents. But we'll talk about later. Speaking about tournaments, there is something happening this Saturday at Shapa, Soweto, which is called the old Nike Center. There's a tournament that's happening there. I want to know the name of the tournament, because if I'm not wrong, you are somehow somewhat involved.
I got that famous phone call. I was so excited, and they say, squeeze it in. But talent showdown. It's for little girls. I'm looking forward to that. I've never been in an environment where I'll just be coaching just little girls. But the funny part is that I've spent so much time with young little girl footballers, but I've never just been in a team where it's just little girls. So it's happening at Shapa Soweto, but it's a very exciting project that I'm looking for, and I'm really looking forward to the growth thereof and how it is that I'll be interacting with them because I don't want to change my approach.
Yeah.
Because I've always seen footballers as footballers.
Yeah.
And the manner in which that will be instruction. And we'll be having former Banyana players, we'll be having, current ladies that are playing in pro football.
Yes.
That's exciting. And I get to be an assistant too. And I was like,
Yes.
So it's a tournament that, it's happening on the 1st. And I'm really looking forward to that. Shapa, so that's where we'll be at.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. And before, I also want to add about the tournament, right? But I want, you and I have done tournaments together, not just girl tournaments. You remember back in the Footy Twitter games, we're actually part of the LOC of the first one, and the second one and all of that. Being somebody who now has, advanced and has grown within the sports and seeing what, tournaments and in terms of the networking that it can do, where we started and where we are now. Why is it important to host tournaments? What are we looking for? What are some of the results that maybe these young girls can come there and showcase their talent? And what are the hopes that, takeaways from a tournament when we plan it? Yeah,
especially for young ones. Obviously, when you're hosting tournaments for the big people, you're hosting tournaments where they would ideally want to win money, ideally they would want to lift a trophy. But tournaments for young people are very important in the sense that, yes, as Jess, you might be the star of the team Kokasi, where we know in that team and you're the one that always plays. But you never be put in an environment where you have to adjust to other personalities. You have to adjust to players that are better than you or players that might be worse off than you, because sometimes it's important to balance the two, where you're going to have players that are great and you play with the players that are not so good, because when you're playing with players that are not so good, you have to elevate your game. You have to carry the team. What are the dynamics? When you're playing with players that are great, you now have to fit in a scale where we can do without you. You don't really need so it kind of teaches you to find a balance, and it makes you aware. So when you find yourself in an environment, it makes you aware of the fact that football is larger than you think, because everybody thinks football is just from their area or their country or their team. But and you get to learn different things. The fact that you're going to be feeding off different minds, the fact that you're going to be making friends, that's also important. And being in this tournament, funny enough, if you ask most of the players, they'll let you know that I met player A, B, and C that I'm playing pro with at a certain tournament. At that time, we didn't even know what was going to happen. So you get to meet your future colleagues. So it's very important. And that's why we need to treat this tournament as serious as possible.
Yeah. And something to highlight about this particular tournament is that the strategy to pair the male coaches and the female coaches was in that we are seeing more females coming into the coaching spaces, but they come with the knowledge of being experienced players. We've gone through this. We understand what it is that works for us and things that don't work for us. If you come with this kind of attitude when you're working with females who are emotional people, these are the results that you're not going to get. This is the pushback that you're going to get. So they come as an educational element, to work with the coaches to say, in the women's space, these are some of the things that we can look at. And when you get an opportunity to say, we work in a country that, we're in a democratic country that doesn't, stop you from working at a specific place 100%. Due to your gender. But it also says, Lekoko, let me also bring you into our world. If you are ever found in a situation where now you are going to be coaching women, this is how you coach women. These are the things that you need to understand about women. This is how you need to nurture their emotions and that kind of thing. And I think that's the most important element about the tournament. And I think this tournament, you will see that it highlights not just, and you've seen when I, as a coach, right? There's kids where I'm not the top goal scorer of the tournament. I don't get the Golden Glove Award. I'm not the top performer. Yet I have leadership skills. I am the cheerer, I'm the rara person. I'm the one that grabs everybody who falls and I pick them up. 100. So now the tournament is focusing on those categories to say, when I leadership, in as much as, hey, you're holding it down there at the back, but you can't score, but yet we can celebrate you and all of that. And maybe let me ask you how important you think that is to celebrate, players that we've never really seen. Because coaches are going to see top goal scorer Otobo Moni already.
Already.
The top performer, if you want to sign that player, you would have seen them 100. Already. How important is it for these categories to maybe be normalized so that they give every child, especially child, an opportunity to feel like they're also a winner and a star?
It's important. I mean, there's a category there that's called Braveheart, and I really love that category. So the problem with, and I always say, the problem with football, it's said that it's black and white. So you only going to reward performance, and that's it. But if you look at most of the players that go on to make it pro, it's beyond performance.
Yes.
The biggest stars, always, it's the funniest thing ever. You need to go and check it out. For example, you'll find a footballer playing pro, and you'll have people that used to play with that footballer, at maybe Kokasi or stuff like that, and they'll say, but this guy, this guy, Nanapenchi.
Yes.
And yes, that's football.
Yeah.
It's not the biggest star that goes on to go and play pro,
I like that.
but it's the most disciplined people that go on to, it's character. Football will always reward character. The people that cheat, the people that used to, age cheating, do all these funny things. Football barely, you get instant gratification, but it's not long term. You can't really sustain that thing.
Yeah.
But if you look at the character, the people that put in the hard work, the people that put in, the people that grind every single day, that's it. Because a lot of people forget that you might have a star right now that's scoring all these goals, but development is not the same.
Yes.
The person that you've written off might have a development rate that's higher than this person. This one might have peaked at the time and scoring all these goals, but this one is still gradually getting there. By the time you get to year 5, you're like, wait, what happened? But it's because the dedication is the hard work, and it's the willingness to not know things. Because there's magic in not knowing something. Because you learn something new when you don't know something. But when you already know that you're going to score, there's nothing new that you're going to learn.
That's true.
So I really like the approach that the organizers have taken with this tournament to award holistically and look at the child and not only just the player. So and that echoes with what I was saying earlier on, with you. So it's big ups to the organizers.
Whew. I really do think that this gentleman needs to write a book, because everything you're saying, and this is my invite for next time again to come through. I feel like there's so many conversations that we still need to tackle.
There are layers.
There are layers. We need to break it down. But thank you so much, Lekoko, for all your support and all your involvement in the football space, not just for women and for males as well. But thank you for the continued support. Thank you for setting an example and being the first one to put their hand up and say, you know what, let's go and watch a women's game. Let me buy that jersey, let me support and all of that. And we appreciate the work that you do. Guys, Shapa Soweto on the 1st of March, under-20 development tournament that gets to see and reward all the players. This is something that's very different. You don't want to have another kid coming through and not winning anything, being eliminated in the first round, and they walk away feeling like they didn't win anything. So every child there is going to be recognized. They're going to be rewarded. There's going to be prizes that they're going to be getting, vouchers, sports bras. I mean, it's a big conversation that we are talking and things that we've seen. Soccer boots, giving them the tools and the resources that they need in order for them to be big stars in the future. We've got agents and scouts and coaches that are coming. We are trying to focus on that girl child that doesn't belong to a team. They're very good, but they've never really gotten an opportunity to be scouted, to be viewed, and for them to showcase their talent. They're going to be at Shapa Soweto on the 1st of March. Please come through and support them. Bring your child for networking purposes, whatever it is. This is a space where we're always celebrating women in football. So my name is Jessica Mushabatu, and you are watching Her Story here on Fut-Afrique channel. I'll see you next time.